So, Ken, when I was a kid, I can clearly tell you the celebrity that I had my first childhood crush on. Can you do the same?
Yes,
Who was yours?
Lena Horne.
Horn, really?
I said that. Yeah, she was on the Muppets, man.
Okay, okay. Princess Leia. Not Carrie Fisher,
Princess Leia.
specifically Princess Leia.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
because they were completely two separate people
Right.
when you were little.
Yeah. For me, it was all about, Star Wars. It was not cocaine, Paul
Yeah.
Simon, Princess
Blues
Leia.
Brothers and none of that.
Want that one. No. Princess Leia.
Yep.
But I had a crush on a certain female artist who blew up huge in the 80s. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Well, it's not Lola Falana, so I'm gonna say
I don't even know who that is.
I'm gonna go with Susanna Hoffs.
It was definitely Susanna Hoffs. And today we're going to talk about the Bangles and their huge hit, Manic Monday. Prince wrote Manic Monday.
Yes, he did under the pseudonym Christopher.
Why do you think he did that? Like, why Christopher?
He was making a movie at the time, and his character in the movie was named Christopher.
That's the weakest Prince story I've ever heard.
Hey, man, it wasn't my doing. He did it.
I'm not blaming you for it. I'm just like, man, that was his whole thing. Anyway, look, the Bangles had already released an album in 1984. Just a middling success, enough to make a second album, right?
And enough to get his attention.
Right. But their second album, Different Light, blew up in a whole different direction. It skyrocketed. And you could not listen to the radio in 1986 without hearing the Bangles.
Yeah, which was pretty awesome considering back during this time in the mid 80s, the what they call the sophomore sophomore slouch,
Right.
it was a real thing back then.
You're right.
During this period, and they completely kicked it like no one else during this period were able to do.
Right. And the album Different Light was a huge success. And this song was a huge success. Manic Monday hit number 2 in 1986. Guess who kept Manic Monday off the number 1 spot?
Who?
Prince, the guy who wrote the song. And
with Kiss.
With Kiss.
Yeah, because 86, so it had to be Kiss.
That's right. So when you think of that, man, Prince had the number 1 and the number 2 song in the nation at the same time, man.
So that's gangster like the Bee Gees with the
Prince,
number 1, number 2 albums.
Dude, for so much of the 80s, from like 1982 and 1999 rolled out up until Love Sexy, because Love Sexy didn't do that great. Love Sexy's kind of that album nobody talks about.
Yeah.
Right? Prince could do no wrong. And honestly, Prince was just huge. I really say 1999 was the breakthrough album, even though he had several albums
absolutely.
before
That was the one that opened the doors. Absolutely.
And up until what? The Symbol album or Diamonds and Pearls, I don't know which one came first, but like, man, 93, 94, like he just kept putting out hits for over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, he had staying power. He was really amazing. I mean, think about all the people that Prince made songs for, but then we have to reflect, man, look at his own career. That man was like Stevie Wonder, just had songs for days for everybody.
So
it's like an embarrassment of riches.
I want to say it was Schubert was the composer, right? The Wedding March, blah blah, Ave Maria.
Okay.
Give you some perspective. So he was highly prolific and died at like in his early 30s, early mid 30s. Had a few thousand songs in his catalog. By the time Prince was the same age, he had about the same amount, if not more, songs in his vault.
Wow.
So compositions. Just to be able to crank out that much music in a lifetime.
Right. And look, man, cranking out all of this music for Prince. I mean, think about this. He wrote a song with Stevie Nicks, didn't even take credit, uncredited for, was it Stand Back?
Yeah.
Okay. This song, think about what could have been. Ken, and you're the one who told me this. Who was this song originally written for?
Apollonia 6 for that project, along with Glamorous Life, come to find out.
Wow. Okay, see, so Apollonia could have just blown up, had two of the biggest hits of the 80s,
Oh, snap. Yeah,
but didn't.
and there were some other hits from the 80s that were for that one project.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember?
Take Me With You, the duet
Okay, off
the
of
album.
Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's get back to the Bangles here, man. And
Yeah.
we're always going to give Prince his due on this show.
Yep.
Like, we try to do a different artist every week. We might revisit Prince more than once before the year's through. I don't know, man. I'm really debating that. But look, the Bangles were Susanna Hoffs, lead vocals and guitar. And that's it. Just Susanna Hoffs.
Ouch.
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
had
No.
Michael Smith on bass.
Still.
Yeah, that's right. Still, I just said Smith. Leading up to this all week long, I've been telling you her name's Michael Steele. And we
Right.
get on the air, and I go, Smith.
Yeah, and she sang too, man. They'd give, like, I listened to all the Bangles albums. They'd give her a track or two on each album too.
And then the Peterson sisters.
And then the Peterson sisters on guitar and drums. And look, you know how I get when I listen to these artists. I don't just listen to a song or two. I listen to every album.
Yeah, you've hit
front
the
to back.
discography.
And then I go, oh, let me see them play live. Okay, because this album, Different Light, had another big hit, and that was Walk Like an Egyptian. And it always bothered me because in the concert footage, they would show the Bangles, because, you know, all four of them sing on the song. Well, the drummer would leave the drum kit, and then in concert, she'd be singing up front with Susanna and the other two.
Yeah.
Right? Notice I only mentioned Susanna's name. Anyway. She would get up there and nobody's playing the drums. Like, man, get your drum tech on the drums because there's clearly drums on the track. It's like, really? You just put a drum track or just a music track on this?
Yep.
But, you know, the crowd didn't care, man. They got to see the Bangles reenact their video and they were happy. It just bothered me, man. But let's talk about this song itself, man. Manic Monday, for me, it's got great lyrics because it has Prince writing his story narrative, which he's so great at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you see it in Little Red Corvette, Raspberry Beret, right? I mean, Prince is really awesome at telling stories throughout songs. Kind of like Escape, the Pina Colada song.
Yeah. Thank you. But I also like, or what sticks out about this song, Manic Monday, it's the first and only song where I've heard Rudolph Valentino mentioned.
Okay, there has to be another, right? We
I'm
just
sure
don't
there
know.
is, but it's not popular enough for us to hear it.
No, you're right. But man, musically, what's going to stick out on this song is that piano riff.
Yeah.
I mean, that piano, it's instantly recognizable, that piano melody that plays throughout. Okay? And what I didn't know until I looked on Wikipedia was that Prince played the synthesizer and the piano. And what I love about that is Prince is known for letting synthesizers overwhelm his songs. Not saying it's a bad thing, but the man is not afraid to make a synth-heavy track, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
It really doesn't overwhelm the song. He lets that piano melody and the Bangles vocals kind of, you know, lead the way.
Yeah, he definitely lets him carry the song.
Just adding a little flourish here and there. And I'm okay with that, man. And that's kind of one of those things that we always talk about the 80s being so, like, well, it's not organic, right?
Correct.
And this is an organic song. And Prince was really good about this as a songwriter in that Prince had two kind of hits, right? I say two. He was really more diverse than that. Because let's say there's three really heavy, like he has the real dance heavy funk songs, right?
Yeah.
He would have the synth heavy pop songs, or he would have what I call the jangle power pop songs, like a Raspberry Beret.
Yeah.
Right? Which kind of evokes that, you know, that happy sunshine pop of the 60s.
Gotcha.
And this clearly falls in that category.
Yeah.
Because the Bangles, before they became this big, just like pop band of the 80s, they were really a power pop band.
Yeah.
You know, I could have easily seen them opening up for a band like Cheap Trick as easily as opening up for a Prince or I'm not saying that they opened up for Prince. I'm just saying like
You could
at
see
that
that.
time you could
Yeah.
see it. But you could also see them opening up for a Cheap Trick earlier in their career. Like they even covered a Big Star song on the album September Girls. And Big Star is like a power pop pioneer.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where like the Bangles are really good at that jangly pop sound. Like this song, even though it was written for Apollonia 6, was really tailor made for the Bangles. Now, I joke, right? Like, oh, it's only Susanna Hoffs. What do you think of the Bangles as musicians? Because to me, it's really about their voices and the singing, and they're just competent as musicians. Like, I'm never saying, oh my God, that bass line, or oh my God, that girl's going off on the guitar. Maybe you've seen something different than I have.
Nothing to that extent to where I'm floored, but I do believe, and even as a kid, seeing some live footage, going, all right, they're actually getting down, getting into it, and Miss Steele, she's been going hard and heavy since the Bangles, so she hasn't let up. Michael Steele, the bassist,
And who did she originally?
she was also one of the original Runaways.
Right. That also had Lita Ford and Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
Did Lita?
Lita was after.
Okay.
But Michael, Joan, and I don't remember.
Sherry. Sherry.
It was like a trio
Cherie.
before they flushed it out.
I don't remember their
But
names, man. I'm old.
one of the originals, Michael Steele.
Right before they recorded
Yeah,
anything.
before
Right.
they hit anything.
And that's respect right there.
Oh yeah, and watching the Peterson sisters, I want to say Debbie and Lisa,
Oh, you might be
Vicky,
Vicky. Okay.
Debbie and Vicky.
We just put Peterson sisters, right? Like
Yeah.
because they're not. You know why? Because they're not Susanna Hoffs.
Well, because they're sisters. But I remember seeing footage of them playing, and yeah, they were getting into it. They were playing,
and let's
and it inspired me as a kid.
and let's not mistake anything, right? Like the Bangles sort of pick off like for girl power pop groups where the Go-Go's fell off. Right? Because Go-Go's had We Got the Beat, Vacation. They're blowing up. You think they're going to last forever. And they kind of fall out. They implode. And then all of a sudden, the Bangles kind of pick up the mantle of like fun, sunshine, power pop group.
Yeah, and I don't want to say in their defense, consider this. People our kids, they get older, they grow up, they want to play music, they want to play rock and roll, they want to play loud together. No different for girls. It just, I guess our world, our society, the West, maybe it was the way in the East, the minds weren't accepting of that, unfortunately.
Right.
Like I said, even as a kid, seeing live footage of them and going, yeah, they're getting into it, they're playing, they are, they're doing it. That and saying how that inspired me to want to play live and to dig down into my guitar and play in front of people.
Yeah, and I think I've seen interviews with the Bangles where they were really inspired by the Beatles, right? Like anyone around that time was. So that they were really there. Not only did they have this song written by Prince, they also had a huge hit with Hazy Shade of Winter, which was originally a Simon and Garfunkel song. Like I said, they covered Big Star. So they know their music. It's not just like these are just four pretty girls up there, like just shut up and sing. No, these are students of the game, so to speak.
Oh yeah, like I would outside of COVID, I would definitely pay money to go see them throw down today, and I would
too. For Susanna Hoffs, but anyway.
And I was about to say, because I'm grown now, I will actually enjoy them throwing down. Whereas as a kid, I was like, oh my God, look at those four. Wow. And then notice them throwing down. Whereas now, I'll be like, all right, they're throwing down.
No, I would actually like the Bangles, right? Like I like their albums.
Oh yeah.
Some of it really dated, just kind of 80s.
Yeah, and that it's the 80s. But yeah, I was listening to this album back in the day when it came out. And when we were discussing it and looking it up right now, going over the tracks, I was like, wow, forgot about that song, and I pointed out if she knew what she wants, and we are discussing that one before this, because I liked that track.
Okay.
Also another cover, as I come to think of it.
Yeah, and I liked another one of their big hits, Eternal Flame. Like, there's something about Susanna Hoffs, I'm saying it. No, but seriously, when she sings that song, where, it just kind of gives you the feels a little bit.
It hits.
It's like a well-constructed song, but she sings it with enough emotion that you're like, oh, no, I feel you, girl. I see where you're coming from.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It was definitely well-constructed and well-produced. They definitely managed to capture the best of her voice in that song.
Yeah, and let's be
and
fair.
the harmonies.
Let's be fair, man. After '89, Susanna Hoffs, she kind of says, "Hey, I'm the big star of the group." That's why I kept alluding to her. It wasn't like a creep thing. It was more a leading up to big ego, right? The big ego comes along and says, "I'm bigger than you guys. I'm going to go have a successful solo career." Except,
I did it.
She didn't.
The '80s.
Yeah, she was kind of like, their fame was stuck in the '80s. We still know who she is, but she just didn't have that kind of impact on her own that she had with the rest of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes, man, it's just an energy, right?
Yeah.
Time in a bottle.
Can't deny.
Or lightning in a bottle. Time in a bottle. Sorry, Jim Croce. Anyway, sometimes just have a chemistry with other people. In this case, the other members of the Bangles, where if they would have stayed together, maybe they could have survived the '90s. Their sound with that power pop vibe was built to survive the '90s.
Yeah, they could have survived.
But they didn't. And that's sad. But we'll always have this song. We'll always have other songs. We still have a ton of Prince songs because we're going to talk about Prince forever.
Is true.
Even if we're not talking about a Prince album or a Prince song, Prince is going to come up because he's so influential.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Sky's blue, water's wet.
Very good. So anyway, man, I just want to know, please let me know in the comments, what did you think of the Bangles? Just another 80s, kind of artificial bubblegum band, or do you think there was some substance there? I'm curious what other people think.
Yeah.
Because when I listen to the albums again, I felt there was some substance there. Definitely some misses on the album.
Well, and that's natural, but I definitely felt they were a substantial band, that they were a true band of substance then, as I do now, and I'm older.
Right.
I'd say maybe wiser, but really not so. But yeah, definitely older, definitely feel that way. And if anyone out there saw the Bangles perform live, let us know. Let us know what you thought about that.
And before we go, I just have to note, if you get a chance, Prince recently released an album with all of the songs that have been covered by him, but he's performing them, like either in demo form or with a full tracking band. And if you listen to Prince's version of Manic Monday, almost identical. The only thing is, take out all of the Bangles voices, throw in Prince and his crew's voices, and it's the same song. This easily could have been a Prince hit for and by Prince. They're like just as catchy, just as emotional, just as good.
I'm glad he gave it to the Bangles. I'm glad they said yes and that transaction worked.
No, it helped them blow up huge. And, who knows if without Manic Monday and that kind of Prince stamp of approval, if the rest of the album would have continued to still, have the same success. We'll never know.
Yeah. I do hope that the Bangles do make a comeback. That'd be cool.
I just want to see him in concert, man. Just so I can walk like an Egyptian with no drum set. Anyway. Hey, if you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like button. If you want to hear more shows from us, please hit subscribe and thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace.